G'day, I'm Dave with Chaosium. In this interview, James sat down with Lynne Hardy to talk about what her profile might look like as a Call of Cthulhu investigator. If you enjoyed this content, let us know in the comments and subscribe to see more.
Well, my professional level stats, definitely library use.
Okay, good.
Spend a
That's
lot
useful.
of time in the library. It would have to be science, biology, science, chemistry. Not so much science, physics. I was a bit of a duffer at maths, but definitely the science and the chemistry. I would say some science pharmacy. I used to work as a pharmacy assistant when I was doing my A levels. I also taught foundation level pharmacy students to get their biology and physiology up to spec. So those would probably be my key ones. I'm just trying to think what else is on the character sheet
Well,
at the
you
minute.
mentioned you've done hieroglyphics classes, right?
Yes, yeah, there would have to be a little bit of language hieroglyphics, a tiny, tiny bit of language Latin, although to be fair, I only did that for a year to get out of having to do PE. Um, what else in terms of language? Oh, very tiny amount of German,
Fantastic.
a little bit of French.
My God.
But this is all from my O level days, so sort of like there's bits pop up every now and again. A lot of the German actually was from. I didn't do O level German, which was a stupid mistake. I should have done it. But it was from doing Acton Cthulhu, because obviously I had to look into a lot of German terms and they kept cropping up.
Of course, of
So that kind
course.
of stuck. And then going to German conventions as well. You know how you do the how to say please, thank you, hello, goodbye, and I'm sorry
Oh yeah, of
in
course, of
various
course.
languages.
Are there any like basic level weird tricks that you've learned that you think that would totally be what I'd do if I ever got chased by a shoggoth?
If I got chased by a Shoggoth, I'd be absolutely hopeless. I'm useless at games and PE. I was always quite
Yeah.
good at hockey. So if I had a hockey stick, I'd be okay. But other than that, no, I couldn't run away from a Shoggoth. I am incredibly slow. As my great aunt used to say, built for comfort, not for speed.
Well, let me ask you this. You've done hieroglyphics classes. I've always wondered what the experience of wandering into a tomb would be and looking at hieroglyphics. What's the intellectual process behind trying to decipher hieroglyphics?
It's really quite tricky. And it was absolutely fascinating to do. And whenever I'm watching a documentary on Egypt or on ancient Egypt, I do tend to get really distracted if there's pictures of hieroglyphics in the back by trying to translate them. Um, Sadly, the classes stopped when the lockdown started, so I'm very, very rusty now. I haven't actually been able to do any for a year now. But what you have to be able to work out which direction to read them in to start with, because they can be read in three directions depending on how they've been written or carved. So you have to figure that out for a start, otherwise it's not going to make any sense. Once you've worked out which direction you have to read them in, um, you sort of have to get going. Obviously, that can be problematical on a lot of stelae and monuments and things because bits might be missing, so you don't quite know where to start. And then the Egyptians have these wonderful little things called determinatives, which are hieroglyphics, and sometimes they mean something, but sometimes they literally just tell you what the word in front means or is. So some symbols can actually mean multiple different things, and it's the little symbol that comes after that tells you which one of those half a dozen different meanings that one has. Some symbols represent one sound, some symbols represent two sounds, and some symbols represent three sounds. So you've kind of got all of this going on. They've got a really weird sentence structure, huge numbers of hideous tenses. So it's really, really complicated. I kind of got to the level of translating things in baby talk, which was, wasn't bad. But I did manage to get my hieroglyphs tutor to teach me how to say "don't read from the book," which was
Oh,
"em shadu em hebet." And
that's
I can
very
actually, I
good.
do have a little card in the back of one of my notebooks that has the hieroglyphs for that on. So if anybody wants me to sign Masks of Nyarlathotep with that, I can actually sign it. Don't read from the book for them.